Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope everyone's doing well on this beautiful Sunday, man. I'm at the park right now and, enjoying looking at God's beautiful creation. All right. We need to start getting out and, enjoying the outdoors more, man. I feel like we like to just be inside, all day. No, we got to start getting outside. Let's enjoy God's creation, right? So I'm gonna give you guys 5 ways to defeat lust. That's what we're gonna talk about today. So I got my notes here, right? So we're gonna talk about 5 ways to defeat lust. Okay. And also got my little iced coffee here. Don't mind that. Got it from Seven Brew. All right. If you have a Seven Brew where you stay at, go get these. It's called cinnamon. It's a cinnamon type flavor. So man, it's really good. So go get it from Seven Brew. But anyways, 5 ways to defeat lust. Okay. Number one is building our relationship with God. Right. So look, so the way to do that is pray consistently of guidance of the Holy Spirit, asking for strength to resist sinful desires and wisdom to live a holy life, right? That's why it's important to pray, right? Guys, we got to start praying. I feel like we need to start praying at least 3 times a day, right? Praying every morning when you wake up. You need to pray because God is the one that woke you up this morning. Nobody else woke you up this morning except for the man above. So we need to start being appreciative of being able to see another day, right? Because God knows when our time is up on earth because our body is a flesh. So we need to start being grateful and praying to him that he woke us up this morning, right? And you need to start praying, being grateful, not only to wake up this morning, just being grateful for everything that you have in your life, right? Start praying, like, praying when you before you eat your meal, right? Praying before you eat one of your meals, right? Start praying that you got food on the table. Be grateful that you got food on the table, right? Uh, because a lot of people can't afford to put food on the table, right? But God, God blessed you to have food on the table, right? And then praying before you go to bed, right? Praying before you go to sleep, praying that you get some good rest. You have a good dream. You dream something about something positive. You don't have a nightmare about anything. Just praying to God that you have a good night's sleep, a good rest, right? And praying that you can able to see another day. So I feel like we need to start praying at least 3 times a day, or at least, or if not, pray 2 times a day, right? You can, or maybe once a day. But we have to. But I prefer us to start praying 3 times a day. It doesn't have to. If you don't want to do three, at least once a day, right? But we have to start praying. We have to start being grateful for everything that's in our life, right? Because God is the reason for all of this on earth. God is the reason why we're here on earth. God is the reason for everything. This is his world. This is his creation out here. So we have to start being grateful for that. All right. Number two, practice spiritual discipline, right? Flee from temptation. Actively avoid situations and content that triggers lustful thoughts such as social media thoughts, right? So we like to look at things we got to start fleeing from things we shouldn't be watching, right? Like um looking at porn, jerking off, jacking off. And then when you're on social media, you're looking at women that you don't even know. You're masturbating towards them, right? So we have to. I think we have to start watching, things content we're not supposed to be watching, like corn and things like that, because corn can ruin a man, right? That's what the Bible said. The corn can ruin a man. Corn is a sin, right? Corn is a sin, and you know it affects your brain, right? It affects your brain. It affects how you look at women, how you view women, and then whenever you want to have intimacy with a woman in real life, you won't be able to perform, able to have sex with that woman, right? You won't be able to perform with a woman in real life in the bed because you're so used to seeing what you see on on corn and content you're not supposed to be watching, right? And OnlyFans and all of that, right? So we have to eliminate from looking at that stuff, right? Then with social media, right? We have to be careful who we follow, right? We tend to follow a lot of Instagram models. Uh, we tend to follow a lot of women we don't know. We get turned on how they pose on their Instagram posts where we don't even know them, right? Instead of and then trying to DM them, trying to holler at them instead of trying to build real connections in real life. Actually, going up to a girl in real life. If you see a woman at a park or an event, you don't a lot of not all men, most men are afraid not all men, but most of young men are afraid to go up to a woman and approach them in real life instead they want to go on Instagram or you know on these dating apps and trying to build a connection with them from there instead of actually building a real connection in real life. I think social media has messed all of our heads up, not just men but women too, on how we view each other, right? And that's why and social media is great, don't get me wrong, right? But I feel like like I said before, I feel like we use it for the wrong reasons. We don't use it for nothing positive no more. We use it for a lot of negativity nowadays, right? And look, women are supposed to be beautiful, right? There's nothing wrong with look maybe looking at a woman, glance for a minute, just keep it moving, just keep scrolling, right? So we just got to be careful with that, man. And I feel like if we try to and then, especially on Facebook, man, if you got Facebook, man, be careful on that too, because I got a cousin, man, that, he got set up because he tried to meet with a girl from Facebook and she set him up and he got shot in his leg and now he's in a wheelchair. His whole leg is paralyzed because of that. So I'm just saying, man, be careful with that dating app. You know what I'm saying? I understand that, in real life, you may get rejected. I get it. You that's why we have these dating apps to try to meet women. But I'm just gonna say this, you can use these apps, but it's better to build a connection in real life. But just be careful with that stuff. Just be careful with it. We have to be careful with that, right? Just because what happened to my cousin, right? I would rather meet a woman in real life and get rejected in real life than on dating apps getting set up by a woman um and I get shot and I get it up in a situation I'm not supposed to be in, right? So we got to be careful about that, right? Number three, seek support and accountability. All right, find a community of faith. Surround yourself with trustworthy friends or mentors who can offer encouragement, accountability, and prayer. Guys, this is a big one, right? We have to. This is goes back to who you hang around, right? If you don't have the type of friends that are looking to elevate in life, you gotta let them go. If you're looking for friends that are, wanting to talk about women all day, and again, women are supposed to be beautiful. There's nothing wrong with talking about women, right? We're supposed to, talk about women, but we need to start talking about them in the right ways. About man, I'm looking for a wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for, to have children with this woman. I'm looking to build something with my woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for like you we look for the wrong we typically as men try to look for the wrong qualities in women, not the right qualities. Not all of us, most of us, right? I hear them how they slept with all these women. Guys, it's not worth it. It's not worth to have all these women on you. In society they want to mess up your heads on, oh, you got to have these type, this many women, you got to have this, this amount of money. No, we need to find one woman, right? Find the good, find the green flags in that woman, because at the end of the day, we want a wife. right? And most women, they want a husband, right? But I feel like, we look at women in the wrong type of ways, right? So I want to shout out my guy Malik. Man, I know I mentioned him before. This is his merch, Purpose Driven, right? His Purpose Driven community, man. He has a community called the Chosen Ones, man, and it talks about defeating lust, man. He does a great job with that, and I'm learning a lot from him, and also I'm reading the Bible as well, but I'm learning a lot from that guy, man. He has so much knowledge on this stuff. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I just feel like, man, we need a brotherhood out here, man. We need to support. We need to be around a group of brothers that are, looking for a wife, right? That are looking to have a family, looking to, continue to elevate in life, right? Continue to work on themselves, being purpose driven, right? We need to be around those type of men. Not guys that want to, be bums, smoke weed all day, play the video game, just roam around neighborhoods and just talk about women in sexual ways. And again, women are supposed to be beautiful. We and it's normal to be attracted to women in a sexual way. There's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like we overdo that, right? Because women aren't just sex toys. They're human beings. They're God's creation. Just like we're God's creation, they're also God's creation. So we have to start respecting women in that. We have to start looking at women in those type of ways, man. So, and you know, it, it's something that I'm still working on. Like, I'm not gonna lie, talking to a woman now, right? And I feel like things are going well so far. We're just gonna see how it goes. But I have them moments as well. But what I learned from my guy Malik, man, be in the present moment while you with her. Actually look her in a different type of way. Look at how her hair looks. Uh, you know, Look at her lips when she speaks, man. Like, instead of, think about the things you're trying to do to her. Like, look at, like, be in the present moment with her. Actually listen. Actually take a few deep breaths, right? When she's talking, like, take them deep breaths, right? And just look at him, look at her, look at how her hair looks, look at how her eyes. I know those are weird things. I know that's weird to I know that's weird. That sounds weird and all, but I feel like that's gonna help us. Especially if that woman isn't, looking for any intimacy with you right now. We have to start being in the present moment, actually listening to her, right? Instead of, think about the things you're trying to do to her, looking at her body and all that. No, look at other things about her and just be in the present moment with her, right? All right. Number four, right? Understand the nature of lust, right? Understand that lust is a selfish desire that focuses on what others can do for you, whereas love is selfless and focus on others, right? So what that means is, back to what I was saying, basically the same thing as like I was just saying, like, man, we have to, lust is a selfish feeling, like, um, right? You know, Again, like I said before, it's the same thing I just said, man. We have to start looking at women like human beings. We have to stop looking at women like sex toys, man. Right? It's a selfish desire. You just care about how you feel. You're not caring about how she's feeling. What she's telling you. She's like, no, I'm not feeling it tonight. She's not trying to have no intimacy with you. You have to be okay with that. You gotta take a deep breath. Take a few deep breaths, man. And like, okay, she's not feeling it. Okay, you know, and be in that present moment with her instead of, you being selfish. Cause look, I'm gonna tell you a little story. So, and I had this happen a few times. So I dated this girl back in high school, right? And she wasn't. I was trying to have intimacy with her, right? But she wasn't. So, I was forcing her to do things, and she kept telling me, no, no, I'm not trying to do that. But I was being selfish. I was trying to tell her how I was feeling, but I wasn't listening. I wasn't understanding how she was feeling, right? She said, no, I'm not feeling it. But I was, my selfish self wanted to, wanted the intimacy anyway. And we ended up doing it, but she wasn't feeling it. I was forcing myself on her, and I was being and that's selfish. That's selfish, right? Especially when you're married, man. You can't be selfish in marriage, right? You can't, it's not about just you no more. It's about us. It's about me and her. It's about y'all. It's not ain't about just you. That, and if you wanted to be about all about you, stay single. That's why you need to stay single. You're not ready for a relationship. You're not ready to share parts of your life with a partner yet, right? That's something as men we have to understand. We have to understand that it's not about you no more. It's about y'all. It's about us, right? So you're not. I wasn't in that moment. I wasn't understanding how she was feeling. I only care about how I felt, what I wanted. I wanted intimacy, but she didn't want that, and that's why she broke up with me, right? Because I kept forcing myself. I was being selfish. I was just being selfish, man, and I wasn't purpose driven. I wasn't on my grind, right? So, I used to think like, oh, she broke on me because she a B, you know what I'm saying? But no, you got to look. We have to start as men. We have to start taking accountability, right? It goes back to um, seeking support and accountability, man. We need to start being accountable for ourselves and understanding that you know what we're doing wrong. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand why women kept backing off of me. It's because of me. You know what I'm saying? Parts of it was because of me. It's not it might have been her too, but part of I was part of the problem as well. I had to look myself in the mirror like, man, what do I need to do better? Right? That's what we need to start doing as men. We need to start looking ourselves in the mirror, right? We got to start taking accountability. We don't take accountability, and that's what the problem is in today's society. So we have to fix that, guys. We have to fix that, right? And number five, right? Being purpose driven. So what does purpose driven mean? Purpose driven means to be locked in on your goals and dreams, right? Being focused on you, right? So as men, we have to have a vision for our life, right? Um, and we have to be able to lead in a relationship. We're the leaders. Women have to follow our lead. And if you don't have a vision, if you don't have a purpose in life, you know, not only for your woman but for yourself, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck. We have to. We That's why it's important for us to go ghost. Go ghost from everybody. Talk to God and figure out what my purpose is on life. You need to sit down and ask God, what's my purpose in life? I feel like we don't do that. I feel like a lot of people are afraid to be alone and ask God what our purpose is, right? And that's why a lot of men feel stuck in life because they don't know what their purpose is, right? And at a point, I felt that way. I was at a point like that. I'm only 21 years old, right? But when I was 19, guys, right? I'm gonna tell you this, right? So after I dropped out of college, right? St. Louis has a UFL team. It's a football league called UFL. I used to play football, right? Um, and I was, after I dropped out, because that's why I really went to college to play ball, right? So I tried out for this UFL team. I was trying to try out for the UFL to be on the UFL's roster, right? Guys, I paid $200 for the showcase because they have a showcase every year. So I tried out for a showcase, guys. It was $200, right? So I did the showcase and everything, thinking that, oh, I'm gonna make a roster. Just why? And my dad kept telling me, man, no, that's a scam. Like that goes back to me not listening. I wasn't a good listener, right? So I tried out for the showcase, right? And I end up not getting picked up, right? So I got humbled, right? I got humbled. But For a while, man, I thought my purpose is was to play football. Football, football, football only. Nothing else but football. I had dreams to go to the NFL, right? But I think what really made it uh what really was the turning point was when I found my guy Malik, man. I tried going to and before that, I tried to go to a counselor. I don't know if, that counselor, he tried, but um, I still wasn't getting it. So that's why I shout out Malik all the time, man, because he made me look at things from a whole different perspective on life, man. I want to shout out him. So I'm glad I found his channel. I'm glad I'm a part of his community, man. You know, and he told me what I'm telling you now. We have to go ghost, talk to God, ask what our purpose is, right? And I sat down and I talked to God, man, and I figured out what my purpose was, man. You know, it was getting my CDL right and making YouTube videos, right? So you know, and I'm glad I found that. I'm glad I found that purpose. I'm glad I found what my purpose is, and this is my purpose to get my CDL and then make content, right? Because I feel like if I would have continued, just to think about football, man, I wouldn't be doing this. I would never have found what my purpose was. I would be stuck in the same spot. I would have just felt stuck like I was before because I just wanted to play football, man. And life is more than that. It's more than football, right? Life ain't all about football, right? And I feel like that's why a lot of athletes just feel stuck, man, because they don't have a purpose outside of their out of their sport, out of football, especially football play. They don't have a purpose outside of that. They don't know they're not building something outside of football, right? A lot of not all of them, most of them, they just think football is just their whole life, and it's not. It's more than that, right? So I just thank God that I found Malik, man, and he made me look at things from a whole different perspective. And I sat down, I talked to God, and I found out what my purpose is, and I'm damn proud of that. I'm damn proud of that. And I was just telling my girl I'm talking to, I was just telling her this last night, and she's, you know, and I'm just, I'm glad I found my purpose, man. Right. So we got to be purpose driven, man. We gotta run away from lust, man, because it's a sexual energy. There's nothing wrong with feeling lustful, but you know, I feel like we all these things, man, will help defeat lust because it definitely helped me. So yeah, yeah, man. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think of this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment what you think of the video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.